Origin just home UX, and this is why US Special Forces switched machine guns. Original task and purpose. Yeah, they've been upgrading newer weapons recently in recent years. I guess that's the new one. Okay, it looks like a sniper rifle. It's Battlefield 50 cal machine gun. Is that it? Wait a minute. Can you do 50 cal machine guns on your? I saw some of 50 cal. Isn't that like a real back? Like kickback and things. So you need to put it on like tripod. This has tripod. I don't know. Wait a minute. They made a 50 cal machine that you can shoot from the hip and things like that. That would be insane. So yeah, this is the new one apparently. Yeah, I guess portability is the future, right? They're trying to do F-35s as in like multi-role, literally multi-role, like all jobs done by just one plane. That's what they're targeting. In this one, I guess with the weapon as well, was like 8mm new ammo, right? They're doing something similar here with I know sniper / machine gun. I'm not gonna lie, that would be awesome if they can pull that. But yeah, that's what it. Remember, if you like my reacts, don't forget to subscribe. So that way I know which videos to react to more. I've been watching military style videos a lot recently, like from task and purpose and things like that. So if you haven't seen them, check out the link in the description. And yeah, that's what it.
It fires the .338 Norma Magnum round. It's been described as having the firepower of a heavy 50 caliber machine gun, except in a package small enough to fit in a soldier's rucksack. The Ohio Ordnance REAPR was finally unveiled this year at SHOT Show 2024 after 2 years of anticipation. That caliber packs a serious punch, since the LWMMG fires at approximately 6,500 joules of energy, while the 50 cal hits about 18,000 joules, or 3 times the power. But the real takeaway here is that the LWMMG has twice the energy compared to the M240 with its 3,400 joules. So why are US Special Forces switching to the .338? What are some of the challenges in creating such a weapon? And what kind of new tactics will it allow for?
But first, I want to talk about data, like the personal data that's bought and sold online by corporations that collect huge amounts of personally identifiable information. These data brokers crawl the web, finding your personal information from government forums, social media sites.
Yeah, but go to original video page, and from there find the link of task and purpose, support this channel, or join deleteme.com/purpose20.
You can go to join deleteme.com/purpose20 with custom promo code purpose20 at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/purpose20, code purpose20.
Originally developed for long-range sports shooting, the .338 has been gathering a lot of interest lately as a machine gun round in the military community, with both Sig Sauer and General Dynamics introducing designs that make use of the .338. It's basically a competition to become the future machine gun for America's special operators. The military first took notice of the round's potential in machine guns when General Dynamics unveiled their lightweight medium machine gun concept back in 2012. They've now been moved over to True Velocity. SOCOM and the Marine Corps posted a sources sought solicitation in 2017 for 5,000 example machine guns chambered in that .338 to research the concept and investigate its potential. The following year in 2018, SIG responded with the MG338 along with their hybrid ammo, and for a while things seemed to be going SIG's way. SOCOM accepted and safety certified the MG338 in 2020, leading to the Army and MARSOC and the Marines to start looking into SIG's offering as a potential replacement for the M240 in general service. A lot of folks thought this meant that SIG had already won the contract, but the initial deliveries of the MG338 were still just for testing and evaluation purposes. Now, you might be familiar with the XM7 rifle replacing the M4 in the Army. That contract does appear to be going to SIG, but this is a different, separate bid. SOCOM held a virtual industry day in February 2021, where they released the designer specs and requirements for what they now called the lightweight machine gun medium. The most interesting thing we learned from this public requirements document that was released was the reason for creating this new firearm, according to the DoD, is because of the 2018 National Defense Strategy Study that revealed there was a gap between US forces and adversaries relating to conventional and unconventional weapons, which is kind of a diplomatic way of saying, we got played. I believe that study is classified, but we know from rumors and soldiers' personal stories that the M240 and 249 didn't have the max range and accuracy needed to engage targets that are far away on high altitude mountains, leaving you essentially with your in your hand. With a weapon like the REAPR in each team's arsenal, US machine gunners will be able to engage enemy troops from well beyond the range of their own medium machine guns. The military calls this principle overmatch, and it keeps American troops safer. At the same time, it allows them to effectively lock down a wider radius around their position. Along with the project requirements, the Industry Day announced a future $50 million contract that was on the line, opening up the competition to the wider fire.
Yeah, one thing I've been noticing recently is like obviously most things goes by what if we go into conflict with China type of strategy, because so far all the strategies come from like Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, things like that. So that doesn't work here obviously. So I think that, you know, like retiring A10 element was also that, like, okay, what if we go to conflict with China, how is A10 gonna work? So now with the weapons, I see the like change of rifles, also like how China is making their things, right? According to it's like you know, if, with that kind of terrain, if the fight do come with the Taiwan and China, if the fight do come, like with that kind of terrain, mountainous area, how is like what rifles gonna fare? So based on that, I think they're like thinking about this. So it makes sense. But you know, it looks awesome. I feel like, you know, they're gonna with the ammo thing. I don't think they're gonna with 338 because probably gonna go with like what is the most used ammo, like what is the surplus ammo. They probably like fit that chamber in the weapon, because one thing I'm noticing is like, you know, the newer ammos and things like that, or you know, less used ammos usually don't get used in, you know, weapons like this. That's how it went with the, you know, XM7, things like that, right? So what is the ammo that's being used most? They're gonna probably fit that one.
Firearms industry. That's when Ohio Ordnance first realized they had a shot at bringing their own design to the market and teased the introduction of the REAPR at SHOT Show 2022. With the gun now in completed form, OOW is sending out the REAPR for testing to interested government agencies before full production begins in April.
See, I love it. Auto and semi, that's two options. Basically turning into either machine gun or like a sniper rifle if you really need it. This is all going back to video games, right? Any like decent enough video game, you have this kind of rifles. It's like either it's like a machine gun, but you can also turn into like this, like a sniper type of way. Obviously, US has, you know, like you know, things like, I don't know, SCAR is like that, I guess. I don't know. There are like auto and semi-auto, you can switch between them, but they're like mostly medium range and things like that. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be long range, semi-auto, sniper-esque type of weapon.
2024.
I don't know about you, but the first thing that jumps out to me when I see this weapon is this thing needs a sandwich. It looks like a straight up skeleton. Going off the pure aesthetics alone, it looks more like a sniper rifle than a chonky belt-fed machine gun. But that's the reason why it's able to weigh so little. But the thing that makes me unironically hua the hardest about this weapon is the entire system breaks down to be actually small enough to fit into a soldier's rucksack for your modern, on-the-go, mobile operator lifestyle. In all seriousness, the breakdown capability is sick. It reportedly takes less than 10 seconds to break it down into its three main components. Could actually see where this would be practically useful. For an example, if you're going out to an observation outpost where you're going to be conducting overwatch with the machine gun, but during that 5-mile ruck march out to that OP, you don't expect to need to use the weapon, so this way you're able to easily transport it and use your rifle. Transporting machine guns in vehicles can be a pain also. When you're not expecting to use them, it's nice to be able to collapse the thing. The only downside I could imagine is if this thing ever gets in the hands of your average infantryman, I promise you, I will find a way to lose those pieces. The entire platoon will be searching for a barrel until 4 in the morning. It's team building, hua.
The LMG Medium project is to bridge the range and capability gap between existing 7.62mm machine guns and the legendary 50 caliber M2. The 50 cal is accurate, long range, and hard hitting. It can take out vehicles, for instance, but it needs to be mounted on either a vehicle or tripod mount to be useful. And that's a heavy beast at 86 pounds. You need 2 people to carry it, even before factoring in the weight of the tripod and the ammunition. Now, Special Forces soldiers frequently conduct long dismounted foot patrols far away from vehicles, and this means they often have to leave the heavy firepower of the 50 cal behind when they do so. Should special operators bring the 50 cal along anyway, there's only so much that each soldier can carry, and the extra weight of the M2 and everything needed to keep it running reduces the team's capacity to carry other mission essential equipment like explosives, surveillance, and comms equipment, or spare ammo for a Carl Gustaf recoilless rifle. American soldiers have long relied on the 7.62mm NATO machine guns like the M240 to give them the automatic firepower they need in a more portable package. But when these have much shorter range than the 50 cal and they can't engage vehicle targets as effectively as stated earlier, the effective range of the M240 is only around 800 meters, but the 50 cal can reach out to 2,000 meters or more. SOCOM believes the 338 Norma Magnum cartridge unlocks new potential for operators to carry a gun that's as portable as an M240, but has nearly the same range and punch as a 50 cal. One way you can tell if a weapon has officially become canon in the military world is whether or not there's a Call of Duty gun named after it. So when you're wielding the RAAL in-game, that's what this is. And when it comes to punchiness, a typical 7.62mm machine gun fires a bullet weighing about 147 grains at 2,800 feet per second. By contrast, the REAPR lightweight medium machine gun fires a 300 grain projectile at nearly the same speed, 2,700 feet per second to be precise. That translates to over 50% more kinetic energy delivered per bullet, shredding body armor and engine blocks even at extended ranges.
I know I said kinetic is the most overused buzzword in the military, and I still stand by that, but sometimes it does have its uses.
Ohio Ordnance Works might not be an instantly recognizable name in the military world like SIG or General Dynamics, but they've been building firearms since the early 1990s. Based just outside Cleveland, Ohio, Ohio Ordnance is a pretty small company by defense industry standards with just around 115 employees and 105,000 square foot factory floor. Now, REAPR stands for Recoil Enhanced Automatic Precision Rifle, which is a bit of a stretch as far as acronyms go, but it captures the emerging niche of machine guns that the US military is searching for. My only concern would be, how does it handle the heat buildup in the weapon after you've been firing it for sustained long periods of time? It's possible they found a way to dissipate the heat through the weapon. I've seen it done before. The REAPR's maximum range is an incredible 6,700 meters, although its effective range is more likely to be around 1,700 meters, without a dedicated mount, that is. That's still more than twice the effective range of the 800 meters for existing 7.62 machine guns, like the M240. The REAPR also weighs only 26.8 pounds, making it almost a pound lighter than the M240 Bravo. The weapon can fire as fast as 650 rounds per minute on full auto, but it includes a fire selector switch that allows the user to shoot in the semi-auto mode when more accurate single shots are needed. A feature that the M240 and many other traditional machine guns don't have, believe it or not. At 54.5 inches in overall length, the REAPR is definitely a long boy, but Ohio Ordnance included a folding stock that brings the gun down to a much more manageable 44.25 inches. The optics rail is machined into the actual receiver of the gun instead of being part of the hinged top cover like on the older designs. This creates a much more rigid mounting point for the optic that translates to better, more reliable zeros. And they created a whole new patented sliding feed tray that can swing out the pass to the edge of the gun for reloading. This not only allows better access for the feeding tray, but also allows for bigger optics to be mounted anywhere along the rail, without the constraint of work.
See, one thing I basically know that US being a gun country, let's just say, where like even your normal average citizen loves guns, basically. Look at like how the channels are there. Brandon Herrera and things like that, right? The AK guy. There are way too many people like that. What happens with that? Like all these people experiment, all these people realize the fault of certain things. They basically make shit, try to their own, which they do apparently. Custom made this, custom made that, and obviously newer companies like he talked about comes to be, right? That also has this like kind of like people who's like passionate about guns. There's a high chance America makes guns that most country can, or at least like a ease of access type of gun that most country can, because other countries don't think about these things, because the average citizens are not playing around with guns. So whether you like guns or not, as a like US citizen, one thing's for damn sure, you're gonna have better guns in a way, right? Even though on the paper you don't have better guns, there's a high chance you have a better gun because of many elements that goes into it, like how the video says.
Working around a hinged feed cover, the REAPR solves an issue that soldiers have just been living with for a long time, allowing for much larger sights like the next generation thermal imagers to be installed on the REAPR right out of the box. The whole ammunition assembly can also be switched between right or left-hand feed while in the field, thanks to the weapon's toolless disassembly procedure. To learn more about the history and specifics of the ammo though, Small Arms Defense Journal Jay Bell wrote a great article that I recommend you check out. There's also more rail real estate forward of the sliding feed cover and the M-LOK attachment points, along the sides of the fore end of the lights, lasers, and other accessories, and the muzzle is threaded to accept suppressors. which is something that you couldn't really do with the M240. An interesting note about the REAPR is its rolling, locking, recoil-operated action. This means the gun actually shares its design lineage with the MG42 of World War II and the Cold War-era MG3, both machine guns famous for their reliability and their insanely fast rates of fire. Ohio Ordnance went with the roller locking design for its simplicity. The gun has only 207 parts, which is about a 30% less than the M240 or the 50 caliber M2. But there's more to adopting a new platform than just performance and ergonomics. US Special Forces teams deploy worldwide and often with little to no resupply for weeks, and soldiers need to be able to keep the weapon fed with ammo. Ohio Ordnance has kept the REAPR's design simple and straightforward, foregoing the usual hydraulic buffer and opting for a mechanical one to avoid the fluid issues that extreme temperatures can cause. Even the best designed weapons will wear out parts though. The OOW's fully toolless design is a boon to Special Forces teams when they don't have to send their gun to an armorer when something eventually does break. As long as the receiver itself doesn't break, everything can be replaced in the field. Ammunition availability is in big question though. .338 Norma Magnum isn't a common caliber in the US military, and it's practically non-existent throughout the rest of the world. It takes time to produce stockpiles of new ammo types and ship them out to depots and magazines. So the issue is how much the military will commit to.
See, that's what I was saying. It's not a normal ammo, right? So I don't think that's gonna be a thing. One thing I'm noticing, like they're probably gonna, like, probably gonna say to modify it with like more used ammo, because logistics always comes in a way in this type of thing. And they're not going to commit to making a lot of boxes and boxes of ammo for that. Even if they do, it's going to take time. So they're probably, US probably will go to like, okay, what is the easier option? Okay, we have this many ammo factories about this ammo. We make this ammo too much. Let's just go for that.
Producing the .338 Norma ammo. The REAPR comes with a 7.62 NATO conversion kit, with the ability to quickly change calibers between the .338 and the 7.62. to either make use of available ammo or to keep training cheap and easy. Again, all without tools or armor level qualifications, so you don't have to go all the way back to headquarters to get this swapped out. But that's one more thing that operators have to carry during extended deployments, and the team lose their range advantage if forced to switch to the smaller caliber. Stockpiling and shipping enough .338 ammo is a broader strategic consideration that could hinder the REAPR's performance in the field if there's not enough to go around. That's likely why SOCOM is heading up the LMG-M project in the first place, and not Big Army or Big Navy. SOCOM is a much smaller collection of service branches with separate funding and acquisition pipelines. The whole point of establishing SOCOM in the late 1980s was to create a more nimble command and logistics chain. Compared to the existing entries for SIG and General Dynamics, the REAPR is a couple of pounds heavier, but the roller locking design keeps it much simpler and a more narrow profile. And with the ultra high pressures generated by that .338 Norma Mag, recoil operation avoids the potential headaches of bent operating rods and clogged regulator valves that gas-operated guns have to design around. In June of 2022, the Department of Defense awarded a $157 million contract to SIG's New Hampshire plant to produce 4.5 million rounds, including the M1162 armor-piercing ammo in .338 Norma Mag. But production isn't expected to be completed until 2027. As the LMG-M program continues, the other branches hope it will highlight the advantages and disadvantages of the .338 caliber for their own purposes, and identify any bottlenecks in the supply chain that need to be addressed before they do. On a similar note, Ohio Ordnance needs to be able to ramp up production of the gun quickly if it gets chosen. OOW has been expanding at a record pace in the past few years, but they're still a tiny company compared to the industrial giants that they're up against. It takes time to purchase and establish the CNC machines, material supply chains, quality control lines, and everything else needed to produce combat-worthy guns at the rate needed to meet contract deadlines. That means a lot of investment on the side of Ohio Ordnance, on top of all the research and development that they've spent developing the REAPR in the first place. And they also need to produce enough spare parts, conversion kits, and extra barrels to ship out and support the completed guns. Defense production is a whole science to itself, and plenty of companies have gone bankrupt when they got the balancing act wrong and overextended. And the Pentagon is no stranger to denying contracts to companies that they don't feel can meet production targets fast enough, even when they offer superior products. If SOCOM likes what they see in the REAPR, it could put Ohio Ordnance on the radar of a whole host of other government agencies and military branches. But if the contract doesn't go through, the folks in Cleveland could just as easily be left holding their hat after investing millions into a new production line. Now that Ohio Ordnance's baby is leaving the nest for the first time, we'll see how wide it can spread its wings during the rigorous tests SOCOM has lined up.
I'm not gonna lie, it's insane that in this kind of a way, you don't even get a contract, but you have to like invest millions into developing a weapon. So if you don't get the contract, all your money is gone now. I mean, this is like military grade weapon. You can't sell it to citizens, right? So where are you gonna sell it? Do you have option to sell outside of your country? I don't think you can, right? I don't know. Can you sell that to different countries? Won't that be seen as like problematic? Like you're gonna sell your superior weapon to somebody else? I don't know what to think of that. So that's just fucked up, man. It's like, you know, if they like show the concept, right? I don't know. The concept is also, it's like, I don't know. It's weird. R&D includes the concept. You can't just make a concept on paper and like give them to them, right? You need to go through all the process of R&D. And then basically like make a product and show them. That's the whole cost. So that is insane, man. I don't know. So I can see like how if they don't get contract, I'm pretty sure like they're gonna go bankrupt if they don't get the contract because they're a smaller company. I don't know, but I don't know. So far, what I've seen just looks like how it should be, right? Easy to use. I don't know about the ammo, right? But they can change that. Like you can already change that with the other ammo, right? So there is that, and like it looks simple. Like I said, it's like a small sniper type of design. I don't know. You can probably use that as a sniper as well, because with the semi and auto thing. I don't know. It looks like right. But yeah, I think they might not get contract based on like people will be like, okay, can they deliver? Can they deliver parts? What if they don't deliver it in time? What if everything goes wrong? And usually politicians try to save their asses, thinking like if things fail, I'll get the blame. So they'll probably go with the easier option
during the LMG medium competitions. There's one place that could really use the MG338, and that's Djibouti. Did you know that the Chinese and American military bases there are only...
Yup, there you go. Why US Special Forces switch machine guns? Yeah, this is Special Forces one, so I don't know. This less common ammo, they might do it because it's for Special Forces, so how many you might need anyway compared to the whole army, right? Whole military, how many you're gonna need anyway? It's for Special Forces. But I don't know. To me, it feels like somebody might try to save their asses and go with the more bigger company and like safer route. But so far, it looks awesome. Well, that was why US Special Forces switched machine guns by channel Task and Purpose. If you like my next one, subscribe. You'll be really helping out this channel by doing that. Check out the extended from Task and Purpose and things like this. They end card right now, and they link in description. And yeah, I'll see you next time.